Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 31st of July. It is a day of significance in that it is, I think, the first day of the Paul Manafort trial. What a joke. It's not funny if you're Paul Manafort, but it is a joke to our legal system. Number one, I heard just this morning, giving credit where I heard it, from Judge Napolitano. He said on Fox and Friends this morning, I think that's where he was at, that Manafort, some 2 or 3 years ago, can't remember which, had been investigated for the very same charges that are brought against him today. The very same charges. What is interesting is not that he got charged with it before, but it was dropped. And who dropped it? Who did the investigation and who was the one that dropped the case? Turns out it was Rosenstein. Can you believe it? The acting Department of Justice head. He dropped it. Now, a couple of things are significant. What Napolitano said was that he believed in the first 5 minutes of the trial that Manafort's attorneys were probably going to bring this up and ask the case to be thrown out. That's significant to me because there's something that we do not know. When that case was dropped, there's 2 ways it could have been dropped, with or without prejudice. One way, when it's dropped, it can't be opened again. The other way, it can. So the fact that the judge said that they would talk about this in the first 5 minutes led me to believe, my opinion, that when Rosenstein dropped this case, he dropped it in such a manner that it could be reopened. So if you're wondering why he's not getting out because of double jeopardy, now you know. But then Paul Manafort is put in prison, solitary confinement for weeks prior to this trial. Now, folks, our legal system, we were all led to believe from childhood, is that you're innocent until proven guilty by a jury of your peers. He was not afforded that opportunity. They claimed that he was making phone calls or making contact with people that supposedly were witnesses to testify against him. I find that hard to believe because he has very high-paid legal minds helping him. And they would have certainly stopped him from making any phone calls like that. And if they didn't, then they could be held for malpractice. So what really went on? What was it really about? See, that's the story of today. That's why I'm so concerned about our country today. What's the real story? Nothing makes sense. Nothing seems to go the way we were brought up and led to believe as children all the way through our adulthood. Nothing's going the way we were taught that it should go. Fundamentally, can anybody, I just did a radio program with Jason Goodman, and I asked, can anybody prove to me that in this country today, in our legal system, that we have one standard of law that applies to one and all of us? Or do we have two sets of laws? One for us and another standard of law for the social, political elite class. Which is it? What are we? If I had to say today, if my life were depending on me getting the answer correct, there is nothing I can find that supports to me that we all live under the same standard of law. Nothing. It's as clear today as it's ever been in my lifetime that there are two sets of laws. One for us, one for the power elite. I guess you'd call that the deep state. And we're sitting here at a time when our country is suffering terribly. And for some reason, people still will not stand up and engage. Stand up and fight for our country, our way of life. You say, well, what are you saying, fight? Does that mean we pick up our guns or clubs, go beat up? No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying use the three weapons our founding fathers gave us for this day. They knew this day would come. They knew there would be a day when a group of tyrannical people would try to take over our nation. And they gave us three weapons: our voice, our voices collectively, and our vote. Yes, sir. Those three things. Those three things we're expected to fight with those three things, those three bullets. The other side, the Antifa, the anti-Constitution of American people, they're using their mouths. They're using their voice. They're using their voices collectively. Showing up where people that support Trump go to eat or just go out for an evening. They're showing up and shouting down people. Am I calling for that? No, I'm not. I would never call for us to stoop to such low-class, intolerant behavior. I wouldn't. I won't. But that don't mean you keep your mouth shut. That don't mean that at all. We've got congressmen. We've got senators. And they need to hear from you. They need to hear from you in a way that they understand. They need to understand that third thing. You got to call them. We've got to call together collectively. And when you call them, you got to let them know that come November 2018, there's not much other than taxes and debt that you can count on. But in November 2018, this we promise. We're going to vote. And we're going to vote you out. We're going to vote you out. If you're not willing to stand behind the duly, lawfully elected President of the United States, yes, President Donald Trump, if you're not willing to stand with him as president, we're sending you home. And in any case we can, we're going to send you home in shame. You need to know this, because this is going to happen. Folks, it's our country. It's our time. And if we don't stand up now, time's going to pass us by, and there's not going to be anything we can do once this country's over. There's nothing. So I beg you, get up, look in a mirror, look at that person in the mirror, and tell me, what do you see? No, better still. You tell yourself who you see. Is that the person that you've seen all your life? Is that the person you thought you were, but you now know you're not? Mirrors are tough. They're tough. Because all that you're going to see in that mirror is you. What you become. And I hope for our children's sake and our grandchildren's sake, I hope whatever you see in that mirror, you have the courage to correct it and get back to the you were meant to be. With that, folks, we'll talk again. Thank you.